I'm gonna call our November 20th second meeting of the month Nash County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Uh, Ms. Richardson, I'd ask that you have our invocation if you would, ma'am.
Dear Lord, it is again we come into your presence with thankful hearts and mind at this particular time of year, a special time of year giving you thanks, but Lord, help us to remind ourselves to give you thanks for every day. We thank you for the efforts that you have set before us to do. Keep us in a sound mind and lead us and guide us in the right directions. Bless us in all that we say and do, and keep us safe and help us to do what is best for the citizens of Nash County. Bless us now and keep us safe in all that we say and do. It's in your name we ask it all. Amen.
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 Our item number 3 on the agenda now, a presentation by Michael Williams. Stacy, were you going to introduce him? Do you want me to move forward with it?
Yes, and Michael has someone with him also, so I'll allow
Okay.
you to introduce her.
Okay, come on up, Michael. I've known Michael quite a long time. He is head of our Turning Point Workforce Development. You may mention it, but you probably don't know it, and you like I do. But make sure you explain to us the recent appointment you got by the governor, if you would.
Oh, yes, sir, I will do.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I happened to read that the other day.
Thank you.
And welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you again.
Great to see you. Again, my name is Michael Williams. I'm staff to the Board of Turning Point Workforce Development as director, and I'm very privileged to be here today and honored. Also, we have Ms. Diane Thomas, who is our NC Works Career Center manager here in Rocky Mount, who covers our Edgecombe and Nash County. So we're going to provide you with just a brief overview of some things that we do and hopefully give you a little bit more information about Turning Point and what the Workforce Development Board does. In 2014, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act was actually written by one of your congresswomen, women from the western parts of the state, Miss Virginia Fox. She actually wrote this particular legislation using both sides of the aisle. She really worked well to make sure that this was a particular law that wasn't just a social service type activity, but it was also an opportunity for our employers and our businesses to reap benefit of getting the right type of job seekers for jobs that they had openings with. As you see within that, our former programs that we had were mostly social policies, where they were mostly geared to lower income, poverty level, and it was partnership amongst state agencies. With the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, it focused more employer-driven. It was more economic development policies, and the leadership was actually driven by the employers themselves. So we wanted to make sure that we changed from just being our customers being job seekers, but our major customers being our employers. So now we're working more with our economic developers. Under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, there's actually 4 titles of programs, and this is how the funds come down. In Title I, we have your adult dislocated worker and youth programs. Approximately, we average around anywhere from 3 to 3.5 million in our local area, serving the 5 counties. Also under Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act is Title II. This is your community college programs, your adult education and your literacy programs. What they have asked us to do is now work more seamlessly together to make sure that we're designing curriculums and classes that our employers are asking for, so we're making sure that we're providing back to employers those type of trainings that are needed for the job openings and vacancies that they have. Title III, Wagner-Pizer. Ms. Diane Thomas, when she comes forward, she'll give you more information about Wagner-Pizer. But Wagner-Pizer is what we used to call the old unemployment office. That's the employment services that that's provided for labor exchange services and also to help match job seekers with jobs. We want to change that from unemployment to employment, so that's why we're calling it NC Works now. Title IV are your vocational rehabilitation programs. These are services that are provided special for those that have disabilities and other barriers. So again, under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, they have combined all 4 titles mandating that we work together. No longer just partnering, but mandating that we work together. How does the funds come down? Again, Congresswoman Virginia Foxx and her peers across the aisle created the law, and it came down with the funding to the U.S. Department of Labor. Then those funds come to the governor. The governor then has the discretion of actually composing what he considers his NC Works Commission Board. So that's the state board, and again, it's driven 51% private sector. That commission board then has their staff, NC Department of Commerce Division of Workforce Solutions. They provide the policies and overview and oversight of the funds that come down to your local chief elected official. And I would like to say, Mr. Davis, as we move forth into January 1st of 2018, that particular position of chief elected official will then come to Nash County. We do a 2-year rotation between the 5 counties. As the chief elected official, this is where the ultimate authority is for the local funds that come. You all provide that with the 5 county chairs or their designee, whomever is appointed there. They come together as a consortium biannually to meet for updates, anything that's moving forward as far as needing approval, or just to look at performance. Those dollars are then it comes down to the grant recipient, which is Turning Point Workforce Development Board, but that is through an agreement, which is the grant recipient agreement, which the consortium, the board that you appoint, and also consortium, the board, you all decide then who will actually be the grant administrative entity. In the past, and so far, that has been Upper Coastal Plain Council of Government, because they already serve the 5 counties. You thought that would be the best initiative and the best grant recipient for the funds. So actually, I'm a staff of Upper Coastal Plain Council of Government. Again, Turning Point Workforce Development Board is based off the appointments that you as the Board of Commissioners provide. 5 chosen from each county, so it's a board of 25. We serve all 5 counties: Edgecombe, Nash, Halifax, Wilson, and Northampton County. Our mission is to provide a workforce that meets the demands of a transforming knowledge and skills-driven economy. I just want to kind of harp back on this importance of the consortium. Ultimate authority for local funds are the 5 county chairs or their designees. The local area designation, about 2 years ago, our local designation had been the same for years. When they changed and when they created the new legislation, our Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, they then gave opportunity for a new area designation. The consortium decided to keep the 5 counties together, and we're thankful for that, and we're moving forward, even though those 5 counties consist of the North Central and the Northeastern Prosperity Zone, but we consider it as one Workforce Development Board. Again, you appoint the board members. Those board members shall include 51% private sector. So the private sector, again, is the driving force for the services that we provide. Also, we must have at least 20% labor. So it may be a union or a business that has that type of capability on the board as well. Our community college, the education and literacy, higher education. We actually have North Carolina Wesleyan now that is a part of the board based on your appointment, so thank you again. And government economic development, Wagner Powers and vocational rehab. Other members can be your nonprofits, youth organizations, transportation, housing, and philanthropists. So that is kind of a brief overview of how funds come down, what policies are made, and now we'll have Diane to come forward, and she's going to give you more information about what's happening in the NC Works Career Center as far as services, and I'll just end up with one more slide at the very end.
Okay. Which one do I press? Right. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Again, I'm Diane Thomas, the Center Manager of the NC Works Career Center in Rocky Mount. How many are familiar with our NC Works Career Center? No, Ms. Wells. So how many have visited our center? Just probably, yes, you have. You may have known us as the unemployment office, as Michael referred us to. In fact, people still come in asking where the unemployment office is. But we're trying to change our image, like Michael said, from the unemployment office to the employment office. So that's why our new brand is the NC Works Career Center. So, what is the purpose of the NC Works Career Centers? Well, it's twofold. One is for employees, job seekers, and one is for employers. For the employees, for the job seekers, is to ensure or to enable individuals to succeed in the workplace by providing skills, development, training, or employment services. For our employers, we want to help businesses to obtain a skilled workforce by providing employment services, training programs, or work-based learning opportunities. Career centers provide you a one-stop shop to address your employment and training needs. Career centers offer a more convenient, efficient, and effective way for all job seekers to look for a new or better job opportunity or training opportunity. We have around 83 NC Works Career Centers throughout the state. Our Rocky Mount office serviced over 4,000 job seekers since July 1st. That's our year. Over 1,000 of those job seekers actually came into our resource center to use our resource center. We have our staff that assist in the resource center. We have our community colleges, Edgecombe, Nash, even Pitt comes over to our center. Upper Coastal Title V Older Worker Program and Telemon come into our center to help the job seekers with their online applications, their resumes, job search, NC Works Online, unemployment online, vaccine printing, and any needs that they have, and we have workshops also there. Our local community college offers someone to come over and actually help individuals with resumes and do any type of application training or training on the computers. We've placed 431 job orders. Well, employers have placed 431 job orders on our NC Works Online this year, and we have referred over 7,000 job seekers throughout the state to jobs that our job orders have been in our system. So we have provided over 6,000 services to employers in our area since this year. When you come into our center, you'll be greeted, and we are located at 110 Fountain Park Drive. It's the Edgecombe Development Incubator. When you come into our center, you'll be greeted by our security officer, who's a veteran, and he still has a lot of people coming in asking, is this the unemployment office? But he directs them to the NC Works Career Center, which is the doors right behind them. And once you come into the Career Center, you'll be welcomed by our welcome team. We definitely have our priority service for veterans. We have a local veterans representative who actually goes out and finds jobs for our veterans. And we have, once you come into the center, our welcome team will find out exactly what your needs are and put you on the scheduler to see someone in our center. Then they refer you over to the resource center. Now, how do we provide better customer service? And that was something the state was thinking, now how can our centers provide quality customer service? Well, they came up with integrated service delivery, and that's something that the NC Commission requires us. In order to be a certified center, we must be administer integrated service delivery. The benefit of the integration is to serve people regardless of any programs. We're helping them to find jobs, and we're going through not only integrated services, but we have the integrated staffing, integrated customer pool, integrated portal, which is our NC Works Online, and integrated customer flow. But you can see, like I said, when they come in, we come into our welcome engagement section of our center. They register, have the orientation and assessment. Then from there, they send our team sends you over to either our development or to our employment team. If you feel like that you need to explore more training options or more education, you're going to be sent over to our talent development team. And if you would like to, if you have barriers that we need to address also, you'll be sent over to our talent development team. If you come in looking only, they say I only want employment, I need a job today, then we'll send them over to the employment team. They do job searches, job referrals, and making sure that they're ready for employment. We have a product box, which is our services available to help customers with training or reemployment needs. So the benefits of our integrated service delivery is the seamless service delivery, efficient use of staff resources, and satisfied customers. That's the main goal. Services offered, which I refer to as our product box. Services for individuals is job coaching, job search, resume and interview preparation assistance. Assessments such as skill assessments, interest assessments. We have a Tradeify assessment computerized program that we can actually, so far the public's been very welcoming with this Tradeify assessment. It's a visual, you just go through and mark off what you like, and then at the very end it adds up everything and it tells you what kind of career that you may be interested in. And then in our NC Works we can actually look up the careers that are in the area for them. Also, we have staff development, skill development, education and training, work-based learning, supported services. We have a community resource guide there that we can refer people to that need assistance with transportation, childcare, food, clothing. Some of our partners in the center are the vocational rehab, community colleges, Department of Social Services, Job Corps, the Chamber, Telemon. And this is our former offender specialist. Governor Cooper has been working on this former offender initiative for a long time now. Last week, the Nash, Edgecombe, Wilson Reentry Council met. It's called the new Reentry Council, and they met to relaunch their efforts to support our local community, to help ex-offenders get back into work once they're released from prison. We have over 14 local reentry councils across the state. There are 37,000 inmates in the 55 state prisons across the state right now. So this is a very important program that we're all collaborating and working together on. This is one of our community college instructors that comes over and helps with the resume assistance, interviewing, and applications process. Job Corps comes over once a month to help the youth 16 to 24 to go into training with Job Corps. This is our resource center. We have a volunteer from the Telemon Corporation and from our Upper Coastal Title V Older Worker Program helping assist this gentleman on the computer. There's another slide of someone being assisted in the Resource Center. Employer services. Some of the employer services that we offer are recruiting events such as job fairs, assisting or assessing candidates for the employers to see if they have the qualifications that the employers need. Labor market information, screening and referring candidates to local employers, training. Employers can also train their employees through programs that are designed to improve the skills of the workers, like work-based learning, customized training, on-the-job training programs help employers train individuals for a position. The program reimburses companies up to 50% of their employees' wages, and this is at no cost to the employer. We have job fairs at our local facility, and also in the last 2 years we've had a regional job fair at the Impact Center. The first year we had it over at the Impact Center, and this includes not only Nash and Edgecombe counties, but Halifax, Northampton, and Wilson counties. We had over 1,000 job seekers come to that job fair. And this last year, we actually had a fashion show of what not to wear on an interview at our job fair. And that's what our employers are telling us. They need those soft skills, and they need to know, our job seekers need to know how to interview, or how to present themselves. So that's something that we want to work on. And like Michael said, our Workforce Innovative and Opportunity Act, we have funding in our facility to help train individuals in a career pathway. Training services include occupational skills training, workplace training, skill upgrading and retraining, entrepreneurial training, adult education, literacy activities, integrative education and training based upon industry or sector partnerships, on-the-job training, employability skills training, incumbent worker training, registered apprenticeships, and career pathways. Now, career pathways. What are career pathways? I just came from a meeting. The state is focusing on career pathways now in our career centers. Career pathways was something years ago that the school system was focused on, like trying to guide their students into a career cluster, trying to help them decide on a career that would be something that would be jobs that would be there for them when they graduate from school, something that would interest them. So we're working on career pathways right now. And this is what career pathways are: integrated, seamless systems of education and workforce development programs, initiatives and resources focused on high-demand occupations in a region, must be developed regionally and collaboratively with employers, certified by NC Works Commission through an application process that demonstrates meeting 8 rigorous criteria. And if you want to find out more information, we do have a website. It's nencpathways.org to explain a little bit more about our career pathways. We do have one certified career pathway at the Rocky Mount NC Works Career Center, and that is the advanced manufacturing. And there's some information about what career pathways are and are not, and this is in your handouts if you'd like to review that. Here is our one of our intro to advanced manufacturing career pathways or classes being taught at our career center right now. And this is the one I was referring to, our Nash County Advanced Manufacturing pathway. We were just certified last month. Nash Community College has helped us implement this pathway. The Nash County Schools, NC Works Career Center, of course, our Turning Point Workforce Development Board, and local employers are all collaborating for this NC Works career pathway. We're working on, well, health care is another pathway, and support services is the next one we'll be working on also.
We'd also like to add that we were the first in the state to actually receive a certification for career pathways, so we're really proud of that, and we actually are the first to have 2 approved, so we're actually excited about that as well. I know we said a lot, but really to make it easy, because I'm just a little country boy from Hollister. I'm just going to be honest with you. Our job is to make sure anyone that's coming in seeking employment, needing assistance, we're going to sit down and work with that customer. Not only that customer, but the job or the employer. Making sure that we're matching, because so often you can get people who are just being referred and they're not matching the job descriptions that are actually being requested. But also working with the employers to make sure that the job description matches whom they are looking for as well. So we have the opportunity and been blessed to serve in that area. What it comes down to, how much money you receive and what's the return on the investment. Again, we annually receive anywhere around $3 to $5 million. It's been a long time since we had $5 million, but $3.5 million based on some information through the wage records that we receive from employment services. Our return on investment is $38 million on the $3.5 million that we received, and thus for those dollars that those who were unemployed, underemployed, go back into employment and the wages that they earn annually. And we actually served 19,000 within the 5-county region. when you look at the 3.5 million, it does appear that that's a lot, but when you divide that by five counties, that's not a whole lot of money. So we're actually doing the best that I think we can do. What is so important now is that partnership of working with your community colleges, working with DSS, working with all the other state agencies to make sure that we are effective and efficient with the dollars that we do receive. So that ends our presentation. I am excited and humbled to have been appointed to the Governor's Educational Committee. I will try my best to serve you all and to serve on that committee with integrity and respect, but also make sure they understand we are still in the East. So any assistance that we can receive, we'll definitely be seeking that as well.
Great, Michael. Thank you. This, of course, is our outside agency presentation for the month, and any commissioners have any questions they'd like to ask us? Mr. Belfield?
I get a chance to ask Matt those things, but one thought came to my mind. In your referrals, when people come in for assistance, do you ever refer in to go on and maybe get degrees?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Actually, one of the incentives that we can offer, we can actually assist an individual up to $8,600 to complete their associate degree, or case by case, a 4-year degree as well. So we're definitely, that career pathway is so important. That is that piece. Thank you so much. And I do want to say, Mr. Belfield, you actually made a reference to make sure that we have that dressing part within our career fair. So we accept that.
Yes, we do.
Other questions?
I just want to say that Chairman gave me the opportunity one day to go over and attend one of the meetings, and Mr. Williams indicated that he wanted to serve with integrity and respect. And I can tell you that my brief exposure to you has been that you are a man of great integrity, and I believe you have the respect of this full board. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you, sir.
I think we would all did to that remark.
Yeah, I just want to say that it's real challenging, and I think that you're all doing a good job, because I always, every month when we have a meeting, I have a lot of questions and suggestions.
Yes, sir.
And I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you, sir.
Michael, just any other questions from commissioners? I'm sorry. Just a couple questions I had. Where do we do the hearing for unemployment wages now?
It's via telephone.
It's
For an
all via
employer,
telephone.
telephone, or you can request an in-person hearing.
Okay.
We actually have a local appeals referee in our career center.
Okay, so that would still be the same location that y'all are at?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just didn't see that up there anywhere, and.
Yeah, like
we
I said, we're trying to get away from that unemployment, but
I
we
understand.
still.
Well, it's
assist.
fine with us employers if we don't ever have one. That would be great. I'm a little bit, I didn't quite understand the names or how it fit in, Wagner,
Wagner Pizer.
how do you pronounce it? Pizer.
Yes, sir.
Where does that name fit into what y'all do, or where did the name come from?
It's our funding
Right.
source.
That is the Employment Services Title III funding source.
Okay.
Diane and I are now married. We used to be co-located. With that being said.
Would you say that again?
With that being said.
A work family.
About approximately, yeah, please don't tell my wife. But about 3 years ago, the Unemployment Office, or ESC,
Sure.
received funding through UI, which is Unemployment Insurance, now it's Division of Employment.
Right.
As well as Wagner Pizer, which helps people to go back to work. So that's
What does that name mean? Is that two individuals,
It
or is
was,
that?
it's how it derived.
Oh, the
from two
history, I'm sorry.
individuals.
Okay, the history of that
Yeah, it
name.
derived from two individuals, and I can't remember how many years ago that was
Okay.
founded, but yes.
And so with the integration, they took workforce development and Mr. or Mrs. Wagner Pizer
Right.
and put them together. So now we're no longer co-locating, but
Gotcha.
she actually manages staff now. There are staff through contractors receiving funding from us.
Gotcha, okay.
And the Workforce Development Board provides day-to-day operations and oversight to Diane. It's a
I see I've got a
Like
lot,
you said, it's kind of, it's a marriage there.
I see I got a lot to learn prior to getting appointed chair of that board next month.
We look forward to
or
it.
In January,
Yes.
evidently. And you were going through a lot of changes 5, 6 years ago when Nash County had that.
Yes,
That,
sir.
that has
Thank you.
leveled itself out.
Yes, sir.
Those were interesting times, my first service is that. And the chair is currently by Halifax County now, I think.
Yes,
Okay.
Commissioner Vernon Bryant.
Brian, okay. Give me 1 second, look at my notes. Anybody
I
else got a
have,
question?
I have one thing
Please,
for
please
you.
go ahead, sir.
You might not know what Wagner-Pfizer Act is because it occurred in 1933.
There's, I knew it was.
1933, okay.
So I guess that was a couple of congressmen or something.
Z was just a young
I got you. I saw him over here on his phone, running that through. I believe that's all the questions I had. I have always been very interested in the reentry program. So, you know, we've been hearing about that for a long time. In fact, we started many years ago through the Contract Association trying to get it where we could have our workers that had some instances in life to be able to work on a prison site, which was a battle. Mm-hmm. We finally got through that, depending on what the charges were, of course. And you keep hearing about it, but it seems like now it may have found a home where we can move forward, and that's the only way we're gonna reduce that
Yes, sir.
reentry over
Yes,
and over and over, because if we can't get them where they can work, and our industry, being the construction industry, sure has always been totally in favor of that, and quite frankly, probably work more often than anybody else, I'm sure. But thank you for that.
Okay.
We thank y'all for being here today, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to item 4, this is a pleasure. Sandy Vick, who not a real recent promotion, but a few months back, and glad as always the commissioners are, I think, to see an in-house promotion. You've been with us a long time, or longer than what I've been here, and maybe not a couple of other members, but we're interested to see how much you enjoy your job, so we'll be able to tell through your presentation. This is our in-house presentation for the month.
As Mr. Davis said, I'm Sandy Vick. I'm the MIS director, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to show off this team. As many of you know, we're IT people. We hide. I mean, we stay in our rabbit holes, and we don't come out. And we especially don't come out in a group like this. So bear with me. And I hope I don't put you to sleep with some statistics, but I want you to know kind of what we do on a daily basis. The Nash County MIS Department installs, supports, and maintains the Nash County infrastructure, which consists of about a 200 meg connection currently, 66 virtual servers that are housed on 6 huge servers that support those 66. And then along with that, there are 84 data storage units that get attached to that, plus 15 physical servers that we have distributed out and about. Also, for network security, we have about 11 firewalls. In addition, MIS provides the internal network connectivity and the traffic routing that gets everybody to their applications and to the data that's stored within and managed within those applications. The MIS department installs and supports and maintains computing devices for approximately 750 Nash County employees. We also provide security badges and manage the security access for the majority of Nash County employees. With more planned in the future, we hope to distribute that out to more locations. MIS provides and maintains the voice over IP system that is currently the phone system for the admin building, the sheriff's office, Nash County Health Department, and the home health department that's in Rocky Mount. This fiscal year, we hope to be adding the cooperative extension department, Board of Elections, and the Rocky Mount Health Department that's also currently on the CenturyLink phone system. So hopefully that'll save us some money. We currently provide and manage 353 mobile devices. These include tablets, air cards, and cell phones. The area of public information also falls under the MIS wheelhouse currently, and that includes our award-winning Nash County Now TV program, which was awarded the NC3C Excellence in Communication First Place Award back in April of 2017. We currently have about 175 and growing YouTube videos with over 22,000 viewings. And the courthouse expansion, and hopefully everybody's seen that by now, the courthouse expansion time lapse, that was the anniversary date. I think Jonathan got that out there on Friday. And as of now, we've got 4,900 people who have actually watched that. It actually went out to a lot more people than that, but the people who we can tell that have actually watched it, 4,900 just since Friday. Additionally, we've increased our Nash County Facebook page following by 1,000 people since January. And we've also rolled out this fiscal year the new Nash County website that hopefully everybody's seen. And many, many months of hard work went into developing that and getting that the way we wanted it. Since July the 1st, we have replaced our storage area networks. These are the big devices, those big storage units that we house all of our data on. We've replaced those here and at our backup center in Rocky Mount. That gives us a total of approximately 72 terabytes, which is a lot at this location and in Rocky Mount. We've also installed and configured new data backup system called Avamar. This, with the introduction and the setup and configuration of Avamar, we now have 2 data backup systems that we run concurrently on almost every server. There's one exception. One server can only run one backup system, but all of our other servers are being backed up by 2 different systems. So in the event that we got hit or that we had to recover, we would have 2 different backups to choose from to back us up. All of these backups, all of our servers are backed up at least once a day. Some are backed up twice a day, and we have some servers that have been identified as critical servers. These servers are backed up once every hour. In the last 7 weeks, since the last status report that we provided, MIS has configured and installed 80 new computers and rolled those out, in addition to completing 461 help desk tickets submitted to our job ticketing system. MIS is also currently working with CenturyLink to increase our internet connection from 200 to 500. In addition to that, we're rolling out to some of our remote locations 200 meg connections. Once we are able to successfully get that configured, then we plan on rolling out voice over IP to some additional locations, as well as being able to do off-site backups. All of our backups are housed on this property, and for security purposes, we need to be able to send those off in case something happened to this property at this location. We would have our backups stored in another location. It'll also give us a place of doing additional storage, and we keep our backups for a longer period of time. The work that gets done in Nash County every day, the services that are provided to the Nash County citizens every day, are all because of the very talented and incredibly hardworking people who make up the Nash MIS team. And if you would stand when I call your name. See, I was trying not to do this. but no such luck. Felicia Conyers, Technical Services Supervisor. James Roberts, Information Technology Specialist. Steve Lawrence, Information Technology Specialist. Brooks Braswell, Network and Server Administrator. William Pollard, Network and Server Administrator. And last, but certainly not least, Jonathan Edwards, our PEG channel operator that everybody knows. I am very proud and honored to be a part of this incredible team, and I hope that I've been able to give you a small glimpse of what they do every day behind the scenes to serve Nash County government and our citizens. Thank you again for the opportunity to show off the MIS department.
Any question before she runs back to her seat?
Oh, no. Okay, good.
Maybe it could well be above all officers' head. Ms. Richards?
No questions per se, but thank you so much, because anybody's literate as much as I am on these iPads and all this other. I had to call them several times. I'm lost, come get me. I tell you, they're just wonderful. We thank you so much, because this is what keeps Nash County growing.
Thank you.
You
make deliveries too, so.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do. Yes, we do.
That's right.
Well,
Yeah.
how about in backup, in case of malfunctions, is everything, you had any problems with that?
Oh, we restore on a regular basis. We usually don't lose anything big, but we have people that misplace files or accidentally delete files and that sort of thing all the time. So on a daily basis, we'll restore from backup.
Where is your Rocky Mount backup?
911 center on
that one,
Parkland
okay,
Drive.
okay, there by the hospital. All right.
That's gonna be one of the locations that'll get a new 200 meg connection once we successfully get everything up and running with CenturyLink.
Ms. Richardson, probably like yourself, as you were speaking, I remember when I first became a commissioner, you came to my house and helped me learn how to make my computer at home work with y'all's computer down here, and I don't think I've called you since then, so you must have done a very good job.
Either that or you didn't like me, one of the two.
It would be the former.
I just want to also comment on those staff. They've
They
had
are
some work
excellent.
online and they do an excellent job,
They
very
really
friendly,
are.
very knowledgeable, and stay to make sure you know they know what they were talking about before they leave.
That's good to hear. They are a good group of people. Couldn't ask for better.
Like you said, they kinda stay hid.
They
do. Well, that's the normal IT mentality. We don't come out very often.
Well, thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Our next item is number 5, which is a public hearing on the $50,000 that we spoke of briefly last month, which is to help us get electrical utility service at the Highway 97 site. Before I open up for a public hearing, any questions from commissioners? If not, I'd entertain a motion for us to go into a public hearing.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cone, second by Ms. Wells. Any questions on that motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Uh,
Any opposed by a like sign? Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in a public hearing, and the purpose of the public hearing is that Nash County intends to use some economic development funds to assist us in moving forward with getting three-phase power to the 97 site. Normally, in today's world, we didn't have any problem doing that if we just told the supplier, which in this case is Duke Energy, we wanted three-phase power there. They were certainly willing to spend, in most cases, whatever funds it took to get that three-phase power there. We're kind of operating in a different world now, and it's just not Duke Energy, it's the industry itself, because we deal with it in construction quite a bit also. We pretty much have to have an end user in place prior to getting funds expended by a utility company. And in this case, Nash County has decided we certainly want to consider, depending on this public hearing, advancing some funds to get the engineering going, because in today's industrial recruitment world, we're asked so many times if a site is shovel-ready. The Nash County site, we have spent millions of dollars to get it ready by getting water there, by getting sewer there, we have gas there, and really and truly unusual, but the last thing we do not have there is an adequate supply of electricity. So that's why our board has decided we are somewhat interested in doing this. It was presented by the Gateway Partnership last month as a need by Mr. Tolson, and Mr. Tolson and myself have talked to Duke Energy on 3 or 4 occasions and come to this dollar amount of $50,000 that if we're willing to front it on a refundable basis once the service is in and has a end user and they're collecting revenue, we will certainly be returning these funds. But that's basically where we're at. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this item here today? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Moved by Ms. Richardson, second by Ms. Wells. Any questions on that motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign, and I'll be glad to have the ones that in the room that could answer a question about this to answer it if any commissioners have a question prior to entertain a motion for approval. Any questions on it?
I think it was discussed
It
well
was.
in our
Yes, sir.
original.
Yes, sir, it
Regular
was indeed.
meeting.
But any additional questions from board members? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Outlaw,
Second.
second by Ms. Barnes. Any questions on that motion? And these funds, as I said, will be coming from economic development funds. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign. That motion carries as well. Vince, anything else we need to do with that, or is that good? Okay, all right. Next item on the agenda, item 6, is by Stacy also. And if you recall, we have for some time been considering erecting some kind of item, and I won't, let the beans out of the bag by saying what we might be doing, but it is, with the intent at a request from a former commissioner, Mr. Tyson, who I don't see here this morning, this afternoon. We do meet in the afternoon, the second meeting. But, we had asked staff to maybe look into this, come up with some ideas, and, apparently they are ready to present an idea to us. You got that emailed to you, with your backup data, and are we gonna show anything, or we got it
No,
right here?
you've got the pictures in front of you.
Sure, okay, I'll turn it over to Steve.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Michelle Bybrett Strickland. She works for Everlasting Memory Monument Company. And thank you, Mr. Davis, for help getting connected with Michelle. And she's actually helped me for the last couple of months, working on getting a quote. If you all will remember, at our second meeting in August, we went outside for the eclipse, but also talked about the space that we wanted to use for our commemorative courtyard. And at that time, I had provided you all with several pictures of different items, and the one that we liked was just some type of a structure like this one here. So I've been on a search with Michelle, and thank you so much for the help that you've provided up to this point. We're not done yet, but basically what the idea of what we wanted to look at, I've learned that those things are not made here in our country. They all come from China. And so Michelle did get us a quote for the teardrop shape. They really didn't offer any other shape options. This was the one shape that they sent to us, and it looks very similar to the one that we had a picture of, so it must be a popular one. But the cost of that particular piece is $14,495, and then there's tax on that. And we also have started to have some discussion about placement of it and the ease or not of being able to get to that place with Michelle's crane. So with her business, she has a crane, but we may need to actually hire a crane that has a longer boom if we can't actually pull that crane vehicle up on our pavers out there without destroying them. There's time involved, obviously, with ordering a product like this from overseas, and I gave you some information about those time frames. And
now, with installing it, if we can pull right up to it, you won't incur any other fees. And there's also another option that you can do that is not out of the country. It's done right in Georgia, and it's an obelisk. You can do that. It's about the same kind of money, but it is made here in the U.S.
So Michelle has shared this idea, and there's two ways that I've been told we can mark on this, using sandblasting, or if we wanted to have like a brass plate or bronze plate created and mounted to, you know, the side of it there. So I know initially I think there was a budget of $5,000 put aside for this idea, and that was when we didn't know what we were what direction we were heading in. But like I said at our last meeting about this, I needed to get some figures for you all so that you know what we're dealing with, so we can make some decisions about how to move forward.
That it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess I'll just open up for comments from board members.
What's planned to go on this? Some kind of plaque, bronze plate, or?
Well, with the teardrop one, that particular plaque would actually be at the base of it. It would be down flat at the base.
But on this one, you could actually
On the
inscribe
front of it.
right on the stone?
Yes.
Like a cemetery marker or
Yes,
something
sir.
like that?
So if you did the plaque, is that an additional to the
It's
15?
included.
It's included. Okay.
And this one is made in USA, and this one is
China.
China.
But you with this big one right here, you would put names on here, or just one time, and you still gonna use the pavers around the bottom like
Right.
we talked about? with
Right.
names on them from, with Billy Morgan being the first.
Right. So what would go on that piece right there would be our explanation about what this space is being used for, our commemorative courtyard and what it is, and we would definitely honor Mr. Morgan on that piece.
On this piece.
Yes.
Okay.
And then in addition, we would have the pavers that we would start, and Mr. Morgan's would be the first paver that we put down.
The size of this one, Michelle, is it similar to this one? It looks much larger.
That's just a picture to show you what it would look like.
Right.
They're both gonna be about 4 foot
Be
tall.
about the same height, okay.
I'd like 4 foot more, and I'd
And
like
what's the
6 or 8.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry.
What's the approximate, I mean, we're putting names on there, how many?
You're putting one on
Only
this.
one.
Just only one on
Only
this?
one.
Oh, so we're not setting it up for the
This is
future?
just gonna explain
The
the
other one.
purpose for the park.
Right.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any names on it, Mr. Belfield. It would be an explanation of the designated area.
And then we'll have
And then you have
pavers.
pavers
Round
out in
body.
front
But I
of it.
have
think
the
you
brick.
said Billy's name would be on there.
Right,
This
we
is an
will
explanation.
recognize him in our explanation of what
Right.
the space is being designated for.
I just give y'all my personal opinion. I think the first one she showed us looks much better than the second one. I realize you can't actually write on it, but the second one looks like a tombstone.
And it is.
First one, and it is, okay.
It is
Yeah.
used in a lot of cemeteries to mark the cemeteries.
Michelle, when we built the Veterans Park for Rocky Mount up there at the old, right there on Church Street, and a farm in Georgia, I remember is where we got all that granite from, but they pretty much made us what we wanted, you know, because we had pillars, we had horizontal, vertical, we had names, branches of services put on it and numerous other things. But I guess we ended up with something appearance-wise like this because the commissioners gave you direction that we like the looks of that. Am I
Correct.
remembering correct? Okay.
Correct.
And I still do.
And we can do anything. if
You can
give
do
me-
it.
We can do anything, as
Right.
long as you give me an idea of what you want,
Yeah.
we can get it made.
I'm just very much like the other one better.
Could
The
you
first,
give us some more ideas of what you could make?
well, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Ms. Richardson?
And this one from Georgia, you could not do the teardrop,
The
Without-
teardrop,
not
yeah.
from here.
Everything that is carved
Yeah.
like that is done in China. Even your monuments that you see that have carving on them,
So there's nothing you could do here to even come close to the teardrop. Okay.
unfortunately.
Well, if I thought Mr. Morgan was going to realize it came from China, I'd probably change my mind.
And if he look at the cost of it, you sure would change
I'd
it.
probably change my mind also, I agree with that.
Okay.
But this is gonna cost the same thing.
Within about $1,000.
I like that, then I do.
But then the
Is that
teardrop,
the norm?
I
Is
like
that,
that, then I do.
that's the normal cost?
For stuff like this, yeah.
but the teardrop one, that would not have all the writing and information.
Right.
It would not.
But I agree with Mr. Davis, the teardrop,
Well, it also-
like you're doing, is a lot nicer.
It also has, to me, it has the shape of a flame.
Well, the eternal flame is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah.
And I too, I like this better.
I like that it has, you know, the base, it's a different color.
Uh-huh.
It's not all like the same granite.
Right. Is it any way, Michelle, that the only downside I see of this one is the fact that the inscription would have to be in a horizontal position rather than a vertical position? Is it anything you see we might could do, possibly get another layer right in here that we could put an inscription on?
You could?
There's also the possibility of even putting something like a
Act-
steel type pedestal beside it that has a, you know,
Yeah.
like when you're at a museum
Yeah,
or.
or maybe even
flags.
something under it that would, but I'm seeing another level right here that we could do that.
I think that would be awesome.
What I'm saying, Wayne.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
Okay,
saying.
okay.
And I like that idea. With that plate that had the words, are we planning to put a profile of Mr. Morgan on that?
When you say profile,
I mean, something etched into the plate itself that gives a profile of Mr. Morgan's face.
No,
oh,
no, other than name.
Why wouldn't we do that?
that's a board.
Money wise,
discussion.
for one thing.
Well, I think we should do that. I think we should do that. If you go out to Nash Community and places like that where they have commemorative markers inside the building, it's not unusual to see where people have provided funding, which in this case the county's providing the funding, but it's not that great of an expense to add to that plate a profile of Mr. Moore.
And that may depend on what kind of space we're working with.
Well, you're talking about from the base to the teardrop itself having a plate or something under where you could attach the brass plate to it, right?
A granite page right here. If you, I'll pass this out. This was the original one that I showed you all. See the space at the base there?
Yeah.
To put a plate down there. I'm sorry, I've got copies here, Mr. Outlaw. That was the
Yeah.
first one that I had provided. Oops, sorry.
But this is like 4 foot, right?
Middle section.
Yeah, both of them were the 4 foot.
So I guess what I'm asking is from the base to the, call it a teardrop itself, are we planning to have a vertical plate under it?
We can't.
Where you could, or some spans where you could attach or insert the plate in there?
We can do that. That wasn't
Bumps over the way the other one.
That's what I'm talking about.
Granite.
Where
Granite
you had a, some visual of Mr. Morgan and
bronze flag
Well,
with a
yeah.
profile on there.
Come up with an idea.
Michelle, have we give you enough ideas to, and
Go
just
back and
work on it and get it back to Stacy and present it to us? Yeah, I don't think we're far off. I don't think it's gonna be a long process, but we are anxious to get it done.
And you give me the exact wording you want on there. That helps with space.
Sure.
So we know what we want on there.
Yeah.
And if you do want the profile picture,
Mhm.
you need to know that too.
Okay.
And probably need to get a picture.
Okay.
And I can actually, the next time you want to get together, I can have actual proof of the actual piece.
Okay.
Do you think, Michelle, it'll be easier to put what we're talking about in between these two pieces? Or would it be to set this on something like this and have it on this?
I'll ask the quarry,
Okay.
since they're the ones that produce it, but I'm kind of thinking in between here.
Yeah, I think that would be better. It'd be more visible from the street anyway. Even though I realize it's not gonna be big enough to sit and read from the street, but it would certainly catch your attention.
get your attention and it may bring somebody to it.
Sure. Any other thoughts? I really like what you got here. That's what we'll do. Everybody okay with working with this profile here moving forward? Ms. Barnes, you hadn't said much.
No, yes, that's fine. I mean,
Well, well, tell us what you think. Don't be bashful.
this is a lot of money for that.
Granite is very expensive.
I know.
When I first started talking with Michelle about it, she said, okay, you understand you're talking about granite and not marble, and you're talking about gray granite, and not a color granite, so.
Yeah, when she came in with that dollar figure, I said, so you're wanting to buy a monument, like a headstone? Because that's kind of where you're at with headstones, you know. So when you're doing a statue type, you're going way above that.
And, yes, and I know we are trying to honor Mr. Morgan and others too, but we all know that he was not for a lot of spending. He was so conservative on that, so.
The taxpayers'
If he could
dollars.
tell you right now, he would tell you, cut it in half or something. I mean, we all know that, but we want to honor him and respect him and what he lived for and all that, so.
Well, we can take the concept that the board approved it, that
Yeah, we can do
half
that.
the cost was for Mr. Morgan and the other half was for all those that will precede him
Yeah.
in the payment process.
Just accept the fact it would have been a 6-1 vote.
Well, wouldn't been the only one we had, would it?
You know, I'm not too sure it would have been a 6-1 vote.
Well, give me
It
the
depends
benefit.
on
It
what
depends
it is. It
Depending
depends
on how it's
on,
structured.
Right.
yeah.
You're right about that. I will tell y'all, I think I remember my figures right. I believe we spent $247,000 on the granite that you see down at the Veterans Park in Rocky Mount, which is quite a bit of, that doesn't include the fountain itself, which was about another $42,000. But it was privately raised funds, I will tell you that. It was not public funds. The whole place was done with privately raised funds.
Now, we can scale this back some, but it wouldn't be
I
tall.
think the 4 foot, you're about 4.5 foot there. I really believe you need that much to get.
Anything else gonna look skimpy sitting out
It
there, I
is,
think.
it is, yeah. I think, Michelle, what we're saying, you just need to cut your profit margin back in half. Kidding with you.
I'll work on that.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
My name is John Conway. I own several monument companies in North Carolina. In fact, we were the,
John, I apologize for not recognizing you. Probably noticed I kept looking at you.
yes,
And I couldn't pull it together, and you are the person that provided the granite down at the Veterans Park.
that's correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And unfortunately, we didn't learn about this until I read it in the newspaper.
Got you?
And if it's not too late, we would like to submit some ideas on it and pricing accordingly if it's not too late.
Mr. Lamb, you want to direct us on this?
And that would be as an alternative to Michelle, you wouldn't work with her?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he does
The same
what
thing.
she does, yes, sir.
We're just local to Rocky Mount.
Right.
Um,
He purchased, if you remember the Brown Memorial that was here for many years. John, if I
Yeah.
say something wrong, correct me, I believe you
That's
purchased
correct. And then we
that
changed the
firm.
name of the legacy.
Because actually, I had the contract for the Veterans Park with Brown,
That's
and you
correct.
bought them during the process and ended up doing a good job looking after it for us.
Right.
How far off was I with my numbers on?
You were almost to the penny.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm old, but it ain't all gone yet.
Right. I mean, if you, if you're too far along in the process, I can certainly understand that, but, it wouldn't take us but, 4 or 5 days to submit something.
Well, with the comments on our concern of dollar amounts, I would suggest that the board may want to consider that. How do you feel about it? Board decision?
Yeah,
Yeah, say that again
good
now.
idea.
What I'm asking, what John is asking, would we consider having an alternate to look at, prior to us making this decision?
I think it's a good idea.
In other words, instead of just looking at one, we just look
Yes.
at two.
Correct.
No
Well,
commitment
then
from either
Michelle's
one.
gonna get some things that she can come back with too also.
Cool. Go. Anybody opposed to that? If not, I just feel like we should do that. Ben, you're here, you brought it to us, and we are charged with looking out for taxpayers' money, and there has been some expression from board members concerned with the cost of it. Do y'all want to vote on that, or are you okay if I let him know to proceed with it?
Yeah.
I don't see why you need a
I would
vote.
suggest, in the interest of fairness, you allow her to make an additional bid as well.
That's
Absolutely,
what I just asked her, she said she could come back with
Absolutely.
something
We have
else.
two.
yes, by all means.
Yeah.
she can refine her proposal.
Right.
And if you have another thought, by all means. I mean, I like what we got here, definitely.
Okay.
How long has it been since I've seen you? How long ago did we do that job?
That was, let's just say it was several years ago.
Yeah.
I think we just celebrated the 10-year anniversary
Yeah.
this year.
Too many years ago.
So it's been about 10 years. I feel bad that I didn't recognize you. I kept looking at you, just wouldn't come together. Okay? We thank you. Thank you for being here. Michelle, thank you very much.
Contact her.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
too.
Trying to understand everything that she can still.
Yeah, she's
Absolutely.
She's coming back with proposals also.
Okay.
John, you have something with you could leave with,
Yes, sir.
Stacy's gonna give
Stacy,
you
okay.
her card.
okay, so she can get in touch with you.
She'll be right back.
She'll be right back,
Okay.
so if you've got a card, you can leave it. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Yeah, she'll be right back with the card. Contact.
Next item on the agenda, if I can find my agenda. Is, Mr. Wren, thank you, Ms. Wells, on the item we talked about just a little bit, about the unbilled taxes on utilities and how to handle that, Mr. Wren?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board. I apologize for being late. I got unexpectedly tied up with another situation, which is.
You actually are not late, sir, you're right on time.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Yes, we recently detected or discovered a billing omission or irregularity on some of our annual public service utility bills. And it dates back actually as far as 2007 when the county converted to new property tax software. Now, of course, it was not a county-wide situation. It was a situation that affected the state certification or public utility properties, any property or system property that they owned in the jurisdictions of the town of Sharpsburg, Middlesex, Momire, Middlesex, Sharpsburg, Momire, and Castaic. So any system property, public utility system property that was in those four jurisdictions, when they would get their bill each year, it had a city and a fire tax rate on it, but it did not have a tax rate on it containing the amount owed to the county. So the county was not billing the public utility bills in those four areas. Now, fortunately, the towns, because these are the four municipalities that we bill and collect for. So the towns were getting their money each year. However, the county was not getting its money. So, and this went undetected, unfortunately, until recently when just the first of the year, we had a retirement and we had someone else take over this job. And in the process of her learning how to do this job and asking a lot of good questions, and me having to pay attention to those questions, we did discover that this was a bill omission that's been occurring for, like I say, since 2007. So what the result of that is that the total amount of taxes that were unbilled or omitted was $127,841. This is spread over about, I think it's 18 public utility companies that share in this amount owed.
Give us a listing of, not all of them, but an example of what those public utility.
Yeah, these public utility companies such as AT&T Communications, Carolina Telephone, Progress Energy, Piedmont Natural Gas, Greyhound, CSX, those type public entities. And let's see. And per General Statute 105-394, which addresses irregularities such as this, the county has the right to go back and recoup those taxes, those property taxes. However, what I need to ask you about is, I feel like I should ask you to consider allowing us to forego any interest that's involved, because this was not the taxpayer's fault. This was the fault of the county, or in this case, the conversion situation and the tax office for not discovering it sooner.
And the yearly interest would be 9%. Right.
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions on that item?
I don't have any questions. I agree with them that don't charge any interest.
We have
And we
prepared.
certainly have legal rights to collect the principal.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've spoken with Mr. Durham about this, and we certainly have the legal right to recoup.
So what you want is permission from the board to forego the interest
And penalty.
Yes, sir.
and penalty.
Yes, sir.
Didn't we in fact say
I
that
thought we
statute
did that.
required us to
Pardon?
bill for these
I think you
taxes?
have a duty
We
to try to
have,
collect taxes, yes, sir.
we don't
Yes.
have to,
We do have a duty to collect the
We
tax.
were briefed on it, we didn't take action on it. We got to take action in public, session. All right, pleasure of the board.
Make a motion that we bill them, but no interest,
Or penalty,
with no interest.
or penalty,
Yeah,
no interest or penalty
right.
is your motion. I have a motion by Ms. Wells that we move forward with billing these
Second that
entities,
motion.
without interest or without a penalty, and a second by Mr. Belfield. Is there any questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman. We'll take care of
And
it.
you had to check by our first meeting in December, sir.
I mean, you got it.
Do so. Thank you.
Have you made communication with them
Uh,
at
we-
this point?
No, sir, we wanted to be sure we had your decision in place, and we'll know how to proceed. We do have a letter.
Yeah,
developed.
he's prepared a letter.
We prepared a letter, and we're ready to move forward with it. Thank you very much.
The next item on the agenda is board committees, or special reports. Prior to turning it over to Mr. Outlaw, Vince, are we determined we don't have any closed session items, is that correct?
I'm gonna have one short matter to report on.
Would you mind reminding me what it is?
Relates to the solar farm hearing we had.
Oh, okay, all right. Do you necessarily need me here for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna try to leave and get to my MPO meeting in just a few minutes if I could. So, Mr. Outlaw, I'm gonna ask you if you would finish up the meeting, and if you would, let me do my committee reports first, if you don't mind.
and I would ask after you do your report, let's just take a brief pause for a moment, because I got a couple of things I want to hand you as you're walking away.
Okay. all right,
Okay, so
we
maybe
can do
some have got to go to the restroom or something.
Right, and one thing, the reason I want to get there today is we're going to discuss our schedule for next year, and I'm going to try to get this meeting moved to a later time or a different day, is what I'm trying to do, so I won't have this conflict each month. The only other thing I wanted to just make a brief comment on is Mr. Outlaw is going to recess our meeting at the end of this meeting to our joint school board meeting on the 30th, which is Nash Community College. Mr. Outlaw and myself are meeting next Monday with the chair and vice chair of the school board to set that agenda. It is our time to set it and put the items on the agenda that we would meet about, but I just chose to reach out to them and share with them what we wanted on the agenda and give them an opportunity to add something if they wanted. So between now and Monday, if a commissioner has another item they'd like to see on that agenda, if you just get in touch with me and advise prior to next Monday, we would certainly try to add that to the agenda as well. But that's the only thing. And with that said, Mr. Outlaw, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Turn it right back to you. Mr.
All right.
Chairman, for your report.
Okay. Very briefly, the Tourism Development Authority has not met. We only meet generally about 2 to 3 times per year. As I said, the MPO meeting is today at 4 o'clock. I'm going to leave here and go ahead to that. The Shell Building, the meeting that we had earlier in this month was with the Appearance Committee or Restricted Covenants Committee. We did pick colors. We did decide everything about it as it looks, and we set the standards for what will go in the rest of the park as far as colors. I guess Mike will share those colors with you very shortly in a rendering. All the contracts, of course, have been awarded, and I just saw Mike prior
When
to
did
us
y'all have that
starting.
meeting?
Pardon?
When did y'all have that meeting?
We had that meeting about 2 weeks ago, Dan, and that committee is a committee of 3 that is in the restricted covenants itself. That includes myself, Stacy, and Krista Iker. It is not the Shell Building Committee.
Okay, I
It
just
is,
wondered if I missed it.
no, it is actually a committee that's in the restricted covenants that we
Okay.
set that will approve any building going in the park moving forward.
Okay.
So that's why you didn't know about it. It wasn't anything intentional or anything like that, but we'll share those with you. It was really just picking the colors for the whole park, but this will be the first building going in there, setting the standard for that. He said he would expect to see site work start very soon after this week on that site. And then Gold Rock meeting, we had a meeting scheduled for last week. The people from the state, the lady that makes that presentation, came down pretty sick, and we actually canceled that meeting, and we have moved it. Ms. Richardson, we got notified today. What date? Do you remember when that was?
The 28th at 1:30.
28th at 1:30.
I
So
have not seen it.
we'll be. I think it's probably on your computer.
Probably on.
It just got sent out today, or just a little while ago. And Mr. Outlaw, we'll take that pause you're speaking of, and you handle that, and I'm gonna run Rocky
Yes,
Mountain.
sir, let's
That's
just
okay.
take a 2 or 3 minute break.
Okay. All right.
Okay, we'll go ahead with our commissioner reports. Back to Ms. Richardson, District 1.
Yes, everything's working good so far with our new members, so we're doing good, but still working on one more member.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. District 2, Commissioner Belfield, you got 4 groups.
Well, the Farmers Market Advisory Board won't meet again until January. That date has not been set, but it's Tuesday. I believe it's the Farm City Week breakfast that will be held there.
Tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
Tomorrow
Yeah,
morning.
Tomorrow
That's
yeah,
tomorrow
yeah,
morning.
tomorrow, Tuesday, yeah, tomorrow.
What time is it?
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock.
Bring your canned food.
Yeah, and typically they ask you to bring some canned food if you
Yeah,
can.
that's right, yes, bring canned food. The Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, we met,
Whenever it's an open session. we
Oh,
keep
I'm
the door
sorry, I'm sorry.
open.
I'm sorry.
we met, really last week. And, several things we discussed. We have 7 agencies that's funded under, working with juveniles under the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. And those agencies will be monitored on their programs. They have a monitoring committee, and they will do that next month, in December. It was also announced that the legislature and the Department of Public Safety adding $22 million, adding $2 million to the $22 million that they are already funding these councils. And in the 7th Judicial District will get a portion of that, which would be a little increase. And also, one of the big concerns is the mental health of our young people. And they have a system in place where juveniles can be treated for mental health. That is where we stand on that now. We'll be monitoring, and we will get a report on that. The Upper Coastal Plain Council of Government, board members were given an impact report. I do not have copies of it. We also, at our meeting, we declared in the Upper Coastal Plain Council everywhere, this is a national thing, National Alzheimer's Awareness and Family Caregiver Appreciation Month. We did that. We were given the, we worked on the Upper Coastal Plain Comprehensive Economic Development Plan, and we were given copies of that. Senate. We also approved the September and October budget expenditures. And that's what we did with Upper Coast Plain Council government. And on the Tar River Transit, I gave you a report last month on what we would be doing in our next meeting, and we approved an update on the drug and alcohol plan for employees, and that our plan was reviewed in the North Carolina Department of Transportation said we need to update it, and that has been done. It's been forwarded to them for their approval, and come back. Hopefully, it will be back next month, and at the beginning of the year, we can start implementing it with the employees of the Tar River Transit. We voted also for a funding request of $328,522, and that's administrative funds. And we are required to do a $49,279 local match. We also approved for application for a grant of $587,250 in capital funds, which requires a local match of $58,725. We approved $270,847 application grant for federal operation funds, which requires $135,424 local match. These three grants totaling I must have it wrong. My figures are not right, so I was going to give you a total, but I can see now they're wrong from the three grants. I know what I got. Local match is going to cost $243,428. Local match, and a lot of that money can come right out of the fees that they charge for transportation through the Tar River Transit, and very little will have to come from the biggest portion will come from the city of Rocky Mount. Mm-hmm. And that is the report on that, and that is my report on the four committees that I serve on.
Thanks, Fred. I don't mean, anytime we're going through these reports, if you have any questions, just jump up and ask them.
Yeah, any questions? Any questions? I left this out, I'm sorry. At our JCPC, which is Juvenile Council meeting, Trillion had a representative there who passed out these brochures telling you what Trillion is doing, and we're doing how you can get in touch with them and the type of services that they offer. I wish I had enough copies, but he was limited, and it was quite a few members there, so I only got one. But I can get some more.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
In fact, I mentioned that to him. I would like to have a copy for every commissioner. He said he would get me some.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Belfield. District 3, Commissioner Cone.
Health and Human Services Board did meet on October the 19th. We had a report from Veteran Services, so you might be interested to know they said they had 130 calls a month before, plus the visits they've had in their office, so Veterans Affairs is busy. We got an update from Donna from the Department of Social Services, and I think we get one of these. Does everybody get one of these reports from Donna? Yeah. So I could tell you that, but you've already seen it. We are still working on purchasing land, I guess, for the 10th convenience site.
Yes.
That
Yes.
hadn't been
I,
done yet. Got met together on
I
the
can,
price.
I can supplement that. I talked to the guy in Detroit last week, I guess it was, and he apologized for not getting back to me about my letter and said he would, have something for me, an answer. He thought it was a reasonable offer of 8,000, and that, that he would be right back with us. He would be, he indicated he was, but they had to get it appraised under the.
Yeah, I haven't
the
really
rules.
been pushing it because of this park, we're trying to bring this park thing to closure, so
Yeah.
once that gets done, which should be next week or so, then it'll be
We-
up on my agenda.
Yeah, we should know something in the next week or two.
Bill talked about a landfill expansion project and grinding debris or moving the debris, and it was on fire at that time, and we encouraged him to let it burn. You know, if it burns up, so I guess it's out. And he did get approval of the board to go ahead and get RFPs on the home health care system, kind of get a feel of what it's worth. So
we
that should be out there.
We should see that in the next few months.
Yeah, yeah. Then we got to decide, are we gonna sell it or keep it? And that board is pretty much sentimental to it, I think. But they realize too that, we need to make a wise decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Agriculture Advisory Board has not met, we do meet, Tuesday. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Cole. Commissioner Barnes.
Nash UNC Healthcare is continuing, leadership's continuing to work through the action plan to improve the financial performance. Time will tell on that. Still working through it. The CEO search committee met last week, and they've narrowed down the candidates to 3. And from what I hear, they're all really good candidates. And they all have some tie to North Carolina. So that process, I think we might meet with them, the whole board. I'm not on that committee, so maybe next week or sometime in December, and go ahead and make a decision on that by January, hopefully. So,
And we're gonna be having in December, I guess, a recommendation to them, or have we
that's right,
made
a
that
board.
recommendation
Yeah,
yet?
there is a,
Which I
an
believe is out of
opening.
your district.
Yes.
Have we presented that to
Yes,
them yet?
I've presented that to the nominating committee. The application has been,
I see what you're talking about now.
for the board. the
I
name-
thought you
that's
said
right.
first, it popped in my mind about recommendation of the
And I know
CEO.
they've got their
But-
social coming up, so that'd be a time maybe you could interact with
You gonna be
some of
there,
them.
Lisa, at the social?
I'm planning to,
Okay.
yes.
Well, I'm going to, so if
Okay.
there's anybody we need to talk to, you need to point me in that direction.
Okay. Jeffrey Batts is the chairman of the nominating committee. I'm not sure who else is on
Give
that.
you a chance
I
to
don't
meet
know.
some of them anyway.
But he hadn't contacted you because he asked me who would be a person to get some background information on him, and I gave him your contact information.
Hadn't heard.
I think he wanted to get that before they meet again, the nominating committee meets.
When do they meet again?
I'm not sure when they meet. I think it's in the next, I think it may be next week is when they have the committee meetings.
When is that social?
That social is the same as our next board meeting. It's that
Oh,
Monday
Yeah,
night,
Same day.
the 4th.
First Monday night, yeah.
December 4th at Rose Hill.
So does Dan need to reach out to him and,
From what I understood, he was gonna reach out to Dan
okay? If he don't,
about that.
if he
If
don't.
he don't by then, we'll corner him.
Yeah, he should, but I think next week is when the
When they
committees
meet, okay.
meet.
Yeah.
If you talk to him, if you could get him to, as quick as possible, submit that letter to us so we can put it on the agenda, since we're not meeting a second time in December.
Submit the letter of,
They submit a letter to us and then we act on it in a
See,
meeting.
they won't.
Right.
Their
That's right.
recommendations, yeah.
So for our
Okay.
December meeting.
We're
We-
just trying to
we-
give them some ideas for their recommendation.
We've recommended them to somebody for them to recommend to us. That's the way the statute reads.
Yeah,
We work on the agenda next week.
Yeah.
okay.
Now, that's not to say that if it comes in after the agenda's out, we can't add it to the calendar, but we're not meeting after the 5th, so.
I think we normally do that in the December, don't we? We
Yeah.
approve the names.
Well, in the past, if we want them to hold it up, they've done it.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm
if
talking
y'all
about if
want
it
to-
doesn't, if we don't get it by
Right.
meeting time, I said,
It'll be January before we meet again.
We just won't have the third, we won't
Have
have
the
this
second
meeting next
meeting.
month.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. That's a good point, everybody. We don't have this meeting next month.
Okay.
How about-
And we're not meeting, the hospital won't meet, the board, the big board won't meet, but the committees will meet.
When's the
for
next
December.
time this board meets with that board? We do that at some frequency.
Was it
When was
May?
the last time we did that?
Meet with
Was it
the,
May?
Nash,
healthcare.
Healthcare Board. Nash
When
Hospital.
they made their presentation last time, it was, I want to say.
that
May.
wasn't their full board, that
No,
was just a
we-
presentation.
When-
Oh, we meet with the full board?
Yeah, don't we meet with them at
No, I
some
don't.
frequency?
No, we won't.
No, I
Not
don't
since I've
recall
been-
us ever.
Okay.
No.
It's just the chair and the CEO.
I thought we had met with them in the past.
Wouldn't be bad, though.
No, I don't
Not
think.
full board.
Who you say that is supposed to call me?
Jeffrey Batts. He's an attorney in that community.
Bass and Bill, Bass and Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Bets and bets.
I'm on the Planning and Facility Committee. We continue to discuss, 2 upcoming projects, the patio renovation and the lobby renovation. So we're kind of split on that committee, on some of those items. We're also exploring potential partnerships with, healthcare organizations that would like to co-locate services on the hospital campus, so that will be another way to improve our revenue. The leapfrog score came out, I think y'all probably saw that, was a C, improved from a D, which is still, have a long way to go. So that's, improving that score is a priority for the hospital. Any questions on that? That's kind of where we're at. And then the Trillium Board meets next week. And I sent you all an email about the partnership with Trillium, Baya, and Alliance. And I guess we'll get some more information on that next week too. But so it's the western part of the state and the eastern part of the state are kind of joining up to work on Medicaid reform. And there is a website that they have. It's the advancingnchwhealth.com. So, a lot of news going on with the MCOs lately, last few days.
A lot going on, you're right.
Yeah. Busy news day. Did y'all hear, you saw
On Topping and
about
their execs.
Richard Topping has been removed as a CEO at
Felt like
Cardinal.
all of them are getting removed.
Did I read it right, that it's the top 10 people?
Yeah, I read
That's the
something
way I
about,
read it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's very interesting. See how that affects East Point and all of us.
There are plans to merger.
Yeah, really.
Keeping us hostage
Yeah.
might change.
Well, I saw your email, and I guess everybody else did, so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes.
This-
District 5, the Nash Community College, the new engineering and cosmetology building, the groundbreaking was on October the 12th. They started construction, pouring concrete on November the 14th. There's a monthly construction update meeting. That meeting happens to be on the 3rd Monday at 2 p.m., which is in conflict with this meeting, which is the 3rd Monday at 2:30 p.m., other than July and December. So I'll be able to make that meeting next month. But in my absence from that B&G meeting to discuss the status of those 2 buildings, they will publish very detailed minutes from those meetings. as well as financial updates on the Connect NC bond funds, and I will continue to provide that information to the full board. The estimated occupancy for those two buildings, as I mentioned last month, is June of 2018. Therefore, it makes Building C available for renovations, retrofitting for the early college. So, Z, I don't know what, if any discussions have taken place at this point to start pre-planning for that activity to start, but I know that that would be something that we're committed to as far as that activity at the early college. I believe it would be our top capital item for the school system at this point. So maybe at some point, maybe that's something that would be on our agenda for the school system coming up.
Yes.
The Vet Tech program, Veterinary Medical Technology program, commonly referred to as Vet Tech, there's going to be there will be information on this program at our December regular meeting. I can tell you that there are some things going on that this program is probably going to start up next year, and it's probably going to be through the relocation of some activity on campus to accommodate it short term until this structure can be built. There's like $1 million set aside from the Connect NC funds, bond funds for this building. There will be a capital campaign to raise the remaining funds. That campaign, all total, is probably going to be a 3 to 4 year process, 2 to 3 years anyway. Once that Vet Tech building, in this case, it's going to be in addition to the Science and Technology building, an additional wing to accommodate this. But again, Mary and I sit on the Nash Community College Board. She heard some of this stuff the other night, just like I did. And again, I'm going to work with Mary, if everyone's okay with that, and try to reach out and touch each of you prior to our December meeting to let you know exactly what's going on with Vet Tech and what I would recommend, I think we would recommend that the board do to accommodate this short-term move for the Vet Tech program. The RPO TAC last meeting was on the 15th of November, and there were no significant items to report from that meeting. On broadband, we were expecting a presentation today. That presentation has been moved to our December the 4th meeting, and I'm very hopeful, Mr. Cohen and I both are very hopeful that at this December meeting we're going to hear from a current provider some good news about how we can possibly expand broadband in the county. So, any questions on any of those items?
Well, the regional one that you were discussing broadband with, are they out of the picture?
That, the ones we have been working with, they, well, yes, the original wireless group is out, yes, yes. We're looking at a different provider, and I think you'll be very pleased with the provider. Yeah. Okay, District 6, Commissioner Wells.
Well, you just heard a presentation from Torrington, which I think speaks for that organization. And STEP has not met since they had the workshop. We had a short board meeting, but they haven't actually a training session in January for all board members.
And Wayne, I forgot to mention one thing. UNC is also looking to locate their helicopter at Nash. So that'll be very helpful. When one's tied up with emergency, they can use the other one for different.
I just mentioned UNC, I mean, the Nash. Had we met with them, or is there plans to meet with them and talk about, you know, all the activity they have going on and, you know, their debt level and current continuing to increase that and
I have
doing things that,
discussed,
you know.
I've discussed that with Ian, and so we.
There may be some further discussions with some group of, okay, good.
And one thing I left out about Tree, and they're doing, I started to say workshops, but it's, anyway, in other words, getting the word out
Yeah.
as to what and they have already scheduled some, yeah, which I don't have those dates.
I think everybody would agree, and looking back, that was a good move on our part.
The
versus
community,
what we were gonna do.
the community input session that you went to at Brownsville with,
Yeah, they're meeting again, I believe,
it's the same
yes, let me check.
December, it's the Thursday, first Thursday in December, I think.
Okay,
Seventh,
that would be the seventh.
7th,
it's the first one.
that's right.
Because that's when the board of trustees held their Christmas.
December 7th.
What was that, what did they do at that meeting?
They're really, they're just trying to get us to organize, and then at the next meeting, they want the community folks to drive the train rather than Trillium. And so, the next meeting, they're gonna want to better organize.
Okay.
And we had a couple presentations. She had a conflict, had another meeting, so I went in her place. And, but it was a good group. They were very complimentary of the turnout, of the number of people that were there and from the community, so.
Before we call for the closed session, I also mentioned, and you know this, that the manager's evaluations are due by our December 4th meeting, and I received Mary's today. But please make sure that you get those to me in a timely manner so I can sit down with the committee and we can go through and summarize and present all this information back to you in a summary form at our January
You
meeting.
want it before the 4th meeting?
No, December 4th is
Well,
fine.
I've had mine ready, but I intend to bring it
December 4th is
and
fine.
left it right on the table.
That'll be great. That'll give us time. We can work on it through Christmas. Okay, anything else we need to discuss before we call for closed session? Vince, what would be the purpose of the closed session?
Go consult with the attorney.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion for closed session for general statute to consult with the attorney? We've got a motion by Mr. Combs, second by Mr. Belfield. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by like sign. We're now in closed session.